Welcome back, everyone, to the Reset with Nat podcast. Today is a very special episode. In 2022, I went to an event and I heard a young lady speak. And that young lady is sitting beside me today.
Hey.
Yes, Alexis Lee.
Yes.
Thank you for joining the Reset with Nat podcast.
Thank you for having me. This is exciting. This should have happened a long time ago.
Yeah.
And things happened, life happened, but we're here today and I'm super excited about that.
Thank you. And you see, this is the thing about a reset and the thing about life. Just because something doesn't happen on the day or the time that you expect it to, it does not mean that it's not going to happen at all, especially when it is purposeful, right? So today's conversation is very purposeful. I heard Alexis's story at the event and I did not get to read the book or speak with her on that day. But a year and a half later, I went to an event and there she was at her booth.
Yes, ma'am.
Just looking pretty. And then I saw the book and I was like, oh my gosh, I met you. I heard you speak. I love your story. I want to know more.
Yeah.
So that's when it was like, can you come on the Reset with That podcast? And she said,
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So 2024 is kicking off with Alexis Lee as a guest.
Yes, this is my first interview for the year.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Woo! And we are debuting for the 2024 because she's been out and about talking.
I have.
Okay?
I have.
But today we're debuting the Beauty for Ashes story in a light way because I'm not going to tell you her story. I want you all to read this book. Quite frankly, I want you all, or I look forward to us all getting to watch it on film, but we'll get there. Okay, so Alexis, can you please introduce yourself? Just a brief introduction and then we'll get into the podcast.
Absolutely. I'm Alexis Lee. I'm a published author and speaker. My whole purpose in life is to share my experience surviving a traumatic brain injury, just bringing awareness and educating folks as well. And I also kind of have a special lane for the people of the Caribbean community. That's really important to me because that's
saucy.
And you'll read about my why, and I think we get into that a bit in the discussion. Why I really want to reach out to the Caribbean community as well with this.
Yes. Okay, so listen, she used a term that a lot of us may be far removed from knowing about because you've never experienced it, especially if you don't do any research or you don't know anybody that's been through it. But Alexis mentioned the word traumatic brain injury, all right? So I'd like you to just give us a definition of what really is that.
So traumatic brain injury is any type of injury caused to your brain. And then you can also think of a concussion. So it affects pretty much your whole person because your brain is responsible not only for thinking, it's responsible for processing information, digestion, movement, hormones, all these things. Your brain is like Grand Central Station. So TBI, as it's also referred to, is any type of injury to your brain.
Right. Okay. And just because, this is something that you had suffered from temporarily because God has done it.
Listen to me.
Let me tell you something. You guys ready to read this story because she's sitting beside us, but there's a lot of instances where life doesn't happen like that. When we talk about unexpected events, and I talk about that on my podcast and on my platform, but at the same time, this is a blessing to have this conversation with Alexis. And I just want you to kind of give them a little, let them know how it happened.
Sure.
Brief, because we want them to dig.
Okay, so 2017, I was in a car accident. And again, life happened because I had my plans. And I was actually listen, as tiny as I am, I'm a foodie. Listen to me. Don't come to me with sushi. And I'll have a salad, but it has to have meat. So I was on my way to get a nice burger. I'm talking brie cheese, grilled pineapple, and this nice sauce. 5 minutes later, I didn't even reach the burger. 5 minutes later, or less than, maybe around that, I was in a wreck. Ambulance asking me, can you feel your feet?
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're gonna leave it there because
Yes.
okay, so the unexpected happened to Alexis, which led to her being a survivor and who is teaching and educating others about traumatic brain injury. And you spoke about some of the effects,
Yes.
not just our body, but there's also, well, actually, you said the central station, everything, right?
Yeah. Your emotions, it affects how you sleep, and it all depends on where the injury is as well, right? So, depending on the location of your brain that was injured, that is what would be affected. But then it could also have like a ripple effect as well.
Okay. And with this particular condition, so it affected your entire compass. So going into the medical system, right?
Let me change my cross leg here.
Change it. She's changing the cross leg. Let me cross my leg. Because
Yeah.
there was a part of the book where I was like, what?
Yeah.
What was, just give us a brief.
You know,
This,
I think my experience with the medical system, having gone through this, first of all, I knew nothing about brain injury.
Right.
I didn't know anything about it. And so here you are, you lose your sense of awareness, you have no idea what's going on, and the treatment I got was, this is just for insurance. What's happening, you're doing this on purpose, nothing, you just want insurance money. Mind you, I lost so many abilities. I don't know if I should get into that now. Some of the effects. So, for example, it started to become difficult for me to understand when people were speaking to me or to even pay my bills. I couldn't count money. And when I would go to different specialists, the hospital, geez, it was just the worst treatment ever. And I think that added to the trauma. That added to the trauma. Because you know what you're experiencing, you know what you're feeling, and you're being told nothing's wrong with you, you're doing this on purpose. Worse, in the Caribbean community, they go and tell my family she lost her mind.
Yeah. So lots of prayers and all sorts of stuff was happening on the side, thinking that you were going off.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, these are the effects of an accident.
I just couldn't understand what was happening. The processing part of my brain, it just, you'd be talking to me and it would take a while for me to catch on to what you're saying.
Physical injury. Did you break any leg or anything?
No. I have a burn on my hand.
Okay.
And then, most of the injury was that you could see physically.
Okay.
Was from the brain injury.
Okay.
Because I ended up using a walker.
Yes.
Because
No. Listen, we're having this conversation to have a bit of conversation, to talk about life and rediscovering your best self after trauma, after life changes, after certain circumstances. But I don't want them to get too much, because at the end of the day, when I read this book, I was on the train traveling to work.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I couldn't put down the book.
You know what? I have to say thank you.
Yeah.
Because you've been such a huge supporter.
I couldn't.
When I saw Natalie posted on her Instagram, just like promoting my memoir, and I was really touched, brought to tears.
No, like I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the book, and I'm so blessed to have you here. And I told you, because really and truly, when you started to like when you were giving your story, I felt like I was sitting there listening to you.
Yeah.
There was a lot of emotion, and there was a lot of how dare them, and there was a lot of oh my gosh, and there was a lot of thank God she is able to be here to tell this story, right?
And I didn't want to tell it.
So what made you tell your story?
Listen to me. So a lot happened. You'd have to read it, and people would be saying, "Lex, you have to write about this. You really have to share your story." And I'd be like, "Shut up! I'm struggling to read and write, so I don't know what you're talking about. Write a book."
Right.
And because of the sensitivities with brain injury, I couldn't go into the sanctuary. So pause. I was born and raised in church. And yes, raised by my grandmother who was born in the 20s. So you must know what that
She's
was like.
she's in the book too.
Yes, she is. She is. Like, my grandmother thought, Lord have mercy, grandma thought clipping your nails on a Sunday was a sin.
Hey. Oh.
It was serious. Anyhow, I couldn't go into the sanctuary because of sensitivity to light and sound.
Mm-hmm.
So I would try to watch bits and pieces of sermons.
Okay.
And the lady that was taking care of me, because I couldn't take care of myself
Right.
at the time, she would help me to put the TV on different sermons. And I'm telling you, back to back, it doesn't matter what sermon I watched, the speaker would say, somebody's supposed to write a book. Someone needs to write a book. You have to write a book. And I just got annoyed because I was going through serious depression.
Okay, of course, yeah.
And I said, okay, Lord, so if I'm going to do this, you have to help me, because clearly I'm struggling with comprehension and reading.
Mm-hmm.
And I was embarrassed.
Right.
I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
And I know you have your feelings a lot about what happened.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I was under some serious shame and embarrassment. And I was like, I'm not talking about this.
Right. Yeah.
And then I just said, okay. I gave my yes.
You see, I smiled when she said, I said, okay.
Yeah.
I smiled when she said that, because you see, and this is why it's very important, like, things will happen. You're supposed to do something at some time because you think that's what you're supposed to do at that time, because you were told or it was brought to you. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you have to go through life a little bit more and be patient.
Yeah, patience is it. Patience.
But when it's for you, messages will be downloaded into
everywhere you turn.
Yeah. And then literally something's going to go off here. Starts with the heart. Mm-hmm. If it's meant, it's going to start. There's going to be a different feeling.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad that you said yes.
I'm glad too.
Your yes is also my blessing.
I think
this is. Yeah. I think that as many podcasts that I've people that I've interviewed and conversations that I had, I think this one's one of the most special ones, because
girl, you're gonna get me all.
Hey, listen, I'm a fan.
I'm blessed. This is a blessing. In the beginning, you don't understand. Mm-hmm. I think, and if I can say at this time, if you are going through something, I'm talking like the belly of the beast, hell, grit, grime, you won't see what it's for when you're in it.
Right.
But as the dust starts to settle, as you give your yes to learning the trajectory of where you're supposed to be going, it makes sense.
Okay.
It starts to make sense. Because I was full of shame saying, I'm not telling anybody about what happened to me.
Right.
And now I'm like, hey, you guys want to listen?
You want to bring me on? I'm ready.
Yeah. And the thing is, I'm very much a behind the scenes person. People think I'm very out there. No.
But hold on. Oh, we forgot to tell them.
What?
A little of the background, because before, you know what? First of all, diva. She's behind the scenes person, but when she's in front and you see her, whether she's behind the scene, she shows up right. And why is that?
So before the accident, I had started my own business as a personal stylist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it was just only a few months, and then the accident happened.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, but as my career, I was in the criminal justice system. And I also at this, listen to me, you want to know about burning your candle at two ends? I worked full time in the courthouse, and then on weekends at a women's shelter.
Oh, wow.
So sometimes I would work like 21 days without a day off.
Wow.
Yeah. And I also think everything that happened to me was God saying, wait, just
relax yourself.
Yeah. You're doing too much. You're doing too much. I was doing too much.
Wow. Yeah. Telling you to share your story. What were your relationships like after the accident, and then getting to the point where people are like, share your story?
Okay. So before I loved going to the city, like downtown, eating, shopping, of course, food. Mm-hmm. And then after the brain injury, I couldn't do that.
Right.
So the people that were telling me to share my story were friends. We'll get into that. Mm-hmm. Maria, you'll read about Maria, who was taking care of me. Dominican lady, shout out to my Dominican people. And mainly, yeah. And then people that I would meet at physiotherapy.
Right.
Yeah. But then as time went on and my abilities decreased, friends went.
Hello.
Mic check 1 2. Friends went. Yeah, because I couldn't keep up. Text messaging was an issue for me. And I was always tired. That's one thing when you have a brain injury, you get tired a lot because everything requires your brain.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And so folks were just not having it. You can't talk, you're not answering the phone, you're not texting, and I lost friends. Yeah. Are you holding your belly?
I have to hold my belly. There's a piece of like hitting my heart because
Yeah.
I recall reading your story. Listen, if I could plug the book again, please get the book because there were so many layers to your story that was like review yourself as a person.
Yes. Yeah.
Review from other people's lives, and then how do you show up for others?
Yeah.
Now, you sharing that point and getting to that it reminds me, because the feeling that I just had, it reminded me of me watching a skit yesterday, Country Wayne. Do you know Country Wayne?
It sounds familiar.
Yeah,
It sounds familiar.
he's a comedian in the U.S. who
Okay.
started making skits, and these skits are all over the place, different things.
Yeah.
Jesus is popping, the man says.
Yeah.
But one of the skits is about this lady who she has been diagnosed with cancer, right? First of all, she cheated. Let me give you a little drama. She cheated on her man, but the man is now standing by her to get through. It was her husband actually,
Okay.
but they divorced, separated. Now she's sick, and he's helping her.
Okay.
But at the same time, she has a friend, and her friend is like, "Girl, this, that, this about the man, this, that, and all of that, right?"
Yeah.
So this man is there helping take care of her. Wonderful. Her mom comes. The man meets another woman, brings another woman in to help take care of her. All sorts of dramas happening in the show, okay?
happening?
But here, I have to give you that. But then let me get to the point that touched me yesterday. Because I'm watching this other woman that she can't stand, help her get healthy.
Yeah.
The man is lying down on the couch, stressed and drunk.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm saying to myself, where is her friend?
Yeah.
Because in every scene, I've seen her have special moments with her friend, but now this girl is literally on her last leg. Where's the friend?
Some people just don't have the capacity. I've learned that word, capacity.
Capacity.
And you can be a lifelong friend, and if they're not at the point to be patient, it's just not going to happen. And I had to come to terms with that. If I don't have $10, I can't give you 20.
Right.
That's it. I might sound cold, but I think I had so much happen. I'm just like, meh.
Experiences will teach you
Yeah.
and redefine
Absolutely.
who you are.
Absolutely.
So based on that, how are you, like, did anybody show back up now that they see you functioning and out and about?
Kind of like what's going on? And I would be like, fabulousness.
Yeah. I love a little spicy.
But I've chosen to establish boundaries. Listen, if you are recovering from anything, you have to set up boundaries so you can be healthy.
Right.
And if there's a lot of this in and out, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Especially, I look young. I'm not as young as I look. Especially at this point in life.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. And there's no disrespect to anybody because let's take it back. Because maybe in the skit that I'm watching, I'm getting all emotional and mad. I'm talking to where is her friend?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's capacity. But on another note, like, let's really look at relationships that we have with people.
Yes.
And Alexis, there was a certain somebody inside that book. Okay? there was a certain somebody in that book. There was another relationship, a close relationship
Yes.
that looked a certain way. It looked, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden it got me to the point where I was like,
Hey, listen, that person, we're not going to call any names.
Because y'all would need to read the book.
Yeah. But I feel like that person took the spotlight.
Well.
Because people have reached out to me. What happened to this person? What happened to them? What happened to them? And I'm thinking to myself, did you learn about TBI?
Oh shucks.
When you were reading, did you take in anything? A lot of people were genuinely
concerned
and taking that. I think that gripped a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's true. Yeah. But it's the way you wrote everything.
You know what? I wrote it as I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
I wrote it as me and you are sitting down.
Yes.
And I'm saying to you, boy, this is what happened. This is how I felt.
It was so good. So good. So good. So that's why it kept drawing us in. You understand? And we're invested.
Yeah.
Like even some of the doctors that you dealt with.
Yeah.
I thought, and then after I was like, oh, that's nice. I'm glad that someone.
Yes. And that's the thing.
Listen.
I'm not going to be like, the whole world is bad.
Mm-hmm.
No, you have good and bad everywhere. And so I wanted to share, these were my negative experiences, these were my positive experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Because in life, you're not going to be swinging pinkies all the time.
Yeah. Swinging pinkies.
Sorry.
I've never heard that one.
Yeah, and you're like, yeah, you're not. And that's the reality of life. And to be honest, I thought, people are going to know I'm trying to recover from a brain injury. They're going to be nice. They're going to be compassionate.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
No. But that gives you grit.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't have to go through the rough of it, I probably wouldn't be a shining diamond.
Hey! Talk nice to yourself. Listen, you're a gem.
Thank you.
That's right. Okay, so hold on.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys see me with my phone. I'm being direct because the point of this is for you to know about Alexis's story, but not know Alexis's story because you need to read the book. So I need to focus and check out the question. Hold on. So, as a church girl myself,
yes,
I grew up in the church myself.
Holy.
And then, it was a little heavy on me because I had to go to church Sunday, Tuesday.
Oh, yours was Tuesday,
Wednesday night.
Oh, what? Tuesday and Wednesday?
Listen, girl, those were the parent meetings, but because my parents didn't want to leave me home all the time because I was a little mischievous, sometimes I had to show up there. Yeah. And then I had youth service Friday. Then we used to clean the church sometimes, so then I was there Saturday. Like, girl, I was up in the place. So, but the relationship, because you mentioned faith.
Yes.
So when you talk about faith, I know. You went in your book. You also mentioned about how your life went, but then there was a position on where your faith stepped in. Give me a little of that.
Listen to me. If you had any experience growing up in the church, like myself and Natalie, old school. I'm talking not this nowadays. I'm talking
no,
old
not modern
school.
stuff.
Like you walk the line, and if you don't, it's trouble. So I grew up in church with my grandma. Again, Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday Bible study, Friday youth meeting, sang on the choir. Yeah, my grandma was, if you're old West Indian, you'll know like Joseph Niles, Grace Thrillers, Glenn Graham. Like, I'm serious. And I would get in trouble, like if I was playing, grandma would be like, you study at Sunday school? Like that, it was that serious. So the accident, I took it as like, whoa, God was mad with me.
Oh.
Yeah. I took everything that happened to me as God was mad with me. He wanted nothing to do with me.
Oh gosh.
And that also played on the depression that I was experiencing. But some people would say, but God.
Yes.
Yeah. I had to learn for myself. Right. And the interesting thing is, I practice reading again with the Bible.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Because
Yeah.
let me tell you something. I have moments where I try to sit down and read I have the King James version.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, what's going on?
I couldn't understand King James.
Yeah.
No,
You mean,
I had to get a different version because again I was still struggling.
You needed.
Yeah, but
okay.
that's how I practice reading again with the Bible.
That's beautiful.
And fast forward, listen to me. Me and Jesus are best friends.
Yes.
You can't come to me with any kind of condemnation.
Mm.
We're not having that.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, I would take this opportunity to say, know the Lord for yourself. Build your relationship. And don't, I would say, get down in prayer, get down in your word,
Mm-hmm.
and learn who you are, who the word says you are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people think they don't measure up, so let me just find another direction to go. It's far from the truth. Read and see who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And on that note,
that's beautiful. Listen, she took me to church just now, and I love that you see. Look at that. You took the Bible as your resource or your tool.
Yeah.
To bring you back.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. So faith is obviously at the forefront of Alexis's life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And for anyone who has any struggles, depression, take time with self, and then if you don't have a relationship.
Oops.
Yeah, no, that's okay because I can edit crop.
Okay.
So please share with me, or share not with me,
Yeah.
myself and others who are friends, caregivers, survivors.
Yes,
Even
yeah.
share some insights or tips on how to assist, a person who
You
isn't.
need patience. You need patience. If you are dealing with somebody who has injured their brain, you're not going to have the same person that you knew before the injury. And I've gotten that.
Right.
And sometimes it has come across as like, that's okay, I can roll with it. And then other folks, you're just not the same person. So I would say that just understand that the person you knew before injury is not going to be the person you knew after injury. It is a very scary experience.
Right.
And so you have to be patient with someone being fearful, someone not understanding, someone needing help.
Right.
Because I needed help with a lot of things. So I would say you have to be patient and also try to be accommodating. My days. I will say this. People in the Caribbean like loud music.
Hey, yes.
You can't just put the dial on 3. No, it has to be on 17 plus bass plus treble and all of these things.
It's true.
And when you have someone around with a brain injury, that's very harmful. And I've been in spaces where it was, well, you're impeding on my on my pleasure.
When I read that, I was like, oof.
Yeah. So you have to be mindful that if you have a person who has a brain injury around you, your environment has to support them because it can be a very slippery slope of symptoms. People can have seizures. People can, yeah, it's nothing to play with.
Yeah.
So let me say, you don't have to have 79 speakers string up in your house with the bass and all of that drama.
You know what? Please do.
You don't. Natalie, you know it's true.
I'm sorry. Because it's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so just be mindful of that. Sometimes people have sensitivities to scent. So you can't be wiping down your place with bleach.
It's interesting you say that because you say, I'm a good person. I thought about it. I was like, I was spraying. And then I was like, shh. I said, Natalie, hey, you better be careful because you don't know. You didn't ask if anything triggers.
Yeah.
So I thought about that today. Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I did think about that. So, it's not just, okay, the person may not pick up what you're saying. You have to be patient with, the conversation that you're going to have or patient with them going on a journey with you if you guys are going out and them not recognizing certain things. You have to be hyper alert for that person.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily need to treat them like a baby,
No,
but you just...
thank you for that. Oh my God.
Oh gosh.
Thank you for that. Yeah. No, brain injury does not mean stupid.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say that brain injury does not mean stupid. It doesn't, because I found people would talk to me like Sesame Street.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What did you do today?
Was that in the medical system? Because I feel our people would be like, why are you not understanding?
No, honey, that was family.
Oh.
Yeah. That was family.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So and ask. I think maybe let's just round it up with that. Ask.
Yeah.
How can I help? What works for you? What doesn't work for you?
Right.
And then I just want to encourage, again, if you are West Indian Caribbean, you have to be sensitive.
Sensitive.
You have to. I don't know. We're not a very sensitive set of people.
We're rough.
Thank you for that word.
We're rough.
Yeah.
No, we're rough. Yeah, we're used to
Yeah.
rough life. We are rough.
It doesn't work for someone who's experienced trauma.
Right.
Absolutely not.
Okay. Y'all listening? Don't look for what you want to hear. Listen to this whole episode.
Oh gosh.
And pull out bits and pieces. And as you speak, I know this is about traumatic brain injury. However, when we really look at it, this is for any type of situation, whatever, medical, mental, we have to be more patient. We do need to ask questions, respect the individual that's going through whatever they're going through. Kind of know when to pull back and then also when to push forward, you know? And then to be an advocate.
Yeah.
Because if you're not seeing something go right and that person's not saying anything to you, doesn't mean that you can't say anything on their behalf.
Yeah.
Because you can recognize certain things and it's like the person may not even, like you said, you weren't even recognizing certain things. So if you're going to be a support system, also recognize that you're going to be an advocate and speak up.
Yeah.
When things don't look right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Thank you for that.
No problem. What lessons have you learned
My days.
during your recovery process?
My grandma used to say, time and chance happens to all. Yeah. My Miss Sign, I call her. And it's true. Time and chance happens to us all. And it's not going to look like what you thought. I thought recovery was just going to be like this.
Right.
And like I said before, people were going to be understanding, and no. And my lesson is be kind to yourself. I think I mentioned this in the memoir when my doctor said that to me, and I was like, what? I have all of this going on. You're going to tell me be kind to myself?
Yeah.
And I didn't understand it, and I know what it is now.
Right.
Listen to your body. If you're tired, do what is necessary, right? Be kind to yourself. What are you telling yourself? We think like abuse could only be like physical. You can hurt your own self by what you allow to think, like allow your mind to think, right? And again, like going to the Bible, Philippians 4 verse 6 talks about what are you thinking? Are your thoughts true? Are your thoughts pure? Are your thoughts honorable? Is what you're thinking trustworthy, a good report? Right? So be kind to you. There's only one you. I used to say this when I was working at the courthouse. There's only one you.
Yeah.
And if you kill yourself for this job, they will be quick
Yep.
to find somebody to replace you.
You're irreplaceable.
Yeah. There's only one you. So love you.
Yeah.
Love you. I'm not telling you to be conceited. This is a public service announcement. I'm not telling you to be a jerk,
Yeah.
but love you.
Yeah.
I think that's so important. And I learned that lesson because I was just going. And therapy. You know what? Therapy is important.
Therapy is important.
It is important.
Okay.
And I've learned so many things because I didn't grow up with my birth parents.
Okay, right.
And that, I guess, traumatic experience as a child led to so many things in my adult years. And had I not gone to therapy, I wouldn't have known that.
Right.
and have been able to recognize triggers and make better choices. So I think if you have suffered any kind of trauma, and it doesn't even have to be like a big event,
Right.
just something that shifted you, something that happened unexpectedly that affected you, talk to someone.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of injured people walking around bleeding on other people.
And you can't see it.
You can't. You can't.
It's mental, and until you maybe get in their way,
Yeah.
then you're like, oh, why do they react like that?
Yeah. And a lot of people think they're the victims when in fact they're not. I can say that for myself.
Yeah.
Certain situations I thought to myself, well, oh, you wronged me? And then after I was like, maybe not. JK, LOL. Yeah. So I think therapy is important. I've learned that lesson. I still go.
Okay. You still go?
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you find your own therapist, or were you referred through?
That was a divine connection.
Okay.
I was praying one afternoon, and I realized, like, girl, you have a lot of things you need to sort out. And so I just said, Lord, I want to see someone. And this was after, I guess I could say this was after Sunil. If you read my memoir, you'll know who Sunil was and what happened with Sunil. But I knew I wanted to continue.
Right.
And I said, but this time I want someone who's a believer. I want like a Christian therapist. All right. In the same day, I'm scrolling through Instagram, and I have somebody I grew up in church with. He opened his own assembly out in Alberta, and I wanted to support him. So I was just watching his page, and he was like, oh, I have this lady here, and she's going to pray. And she's like, the Lord wants me to speak to somebody who suffered trauma. And she's a clinical practitioner and has her own practice. I said, well, yeah. And it's been 2+ years, something like that.
With the same lady.
With her practice. She went on mat leave, but with her practice. Yeah.
And listening to you, I'm going back to what you said earlier, right? You were busy, doing this, that. All she wanted to do was go get this burger. She liked the burger. She wanted the pineapple on the burger. Yeah. And within 5 minutes...
About give or take, yeah.
A life event.
Yeah.
Changed everything.
Everything.
But for her to be sitting here telling this story today, certain downloads had to happen.
Yep.
And those downloads, when she said yes to every single one of those downloads, it brought you to better.
Yeah.
To better.
Yeah.
And it's going to take her to best. Right? So sometimes, and it also has me sitting here like, woof.
Clutch your pearls, honey.
Clutch the pearls, and thank God I said, yes, Lord, I'm going to make sure. Like, this interview was supposed to be in person at once.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, okay, well, maybe we could do the audio version. But then I was like, no, do the in-person, because I knew your story was special.
You've been very passionate about this.
Yeah, I am, because it's very important. And not only... I'm a heartful person. A story takes me, and I love a story that has a good ending, right? Yeah. But on the other hand, it's like I also am an insurance and investment advisor.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that happens within the financial landscape where people are reluctant to protect themselves. And it's like insurance. We're talking about people want to build wealth and have investments, but what if something happens? That conversation about insurance is not attractive for a lot of people.
It's not. And actually, I wrote about
it
because I became like a golden ticket to folks. Come on, people, your car accident.
You know what, Alexis, please don't.
I'm telling you. Let me tell you.
Why do you have to say things that one? I don't even want to laugh, but it's the way you say it. You became a golden ticket.
I'm telling you, man. People tell me, oh,
yeah,
furnace need to fix.
Oh.
Child support court coming up.
Oh, no.
Yeah, friend. Yeah.
Y'all mind your business and get your own coverage and take care of your own bills. Blasted. You're waiting for people to go and get in their accidents and then they're traumatized. You don't even want to come around and bring soup and mind them and turn down the music. But at the
Yeah.
same time, you have nerve to be listen.
You know what I get now, and I'm thinking to myself, you have some gonads to be asking me, even just random people too. So did you get any money?
Oh no.
Yes, friend. Yeah. So go on with your insurance.
I cannot with you.
Yeah, and
I
then the
cannot
other
with you.
side of it with the insurance company is they behaved as if money was coming out of their pocket, like literally following
And you
me.
paid for the stuff. Yes, they do. I know that.
Yeah.
I know they did
Yeah.
that to my aunt. They want to watch. They want to see.
Yeah, fully
It's a car
drove
insurance,
up,
right?
Yeah, drove up on my driveway.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, that was traumatic too. I didn't know anything about this stuff, and I'm being followed. My days, yeah, yep.
I don't deal with car insurance. I deal with life insurance and critical illness insurance
Let's
and
just
all
make
them other
this
things.
disclaimer.
But at the same time, you know, thank God you had car insurance.
Yeah.
And yes, they are going to do their thing because there are people who can't wait
Yeah.
to act up.
Yeah.
Right? But in this particular case, this was her life. And although sometimes you're seeing people walk, like you said, there's people who are suffering traumas. You're looking at them.
And
You
would
can't
never
see
know.
what's happening
Yeah.
because you're not communicating with
Yeah.
them. But they're going through
Yeah.
trauma.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to these companies, obviously they're going to do and be above and beyond. But I'm glad that you had coverage because some people are out there driving,
And they don't
have nothing. And the story doesn't end the same.
Mm-hmm.
We are blessed to have Alexis here. I wanted to make sure I had her on today's podcast. And I want to thank you once again.
Thank you
For coming on the Reset with that podcast.
I'm excited
Not just
about
sharing, I'm here, I recovered, I
No.
went through this,
No,
da-da-da.
no.
You're looking out for a community of people. You're speaking for people that wouldn't even share. There's a lot of people, like she said, because of their shame, their embarrassment. They're probably going through things where people are saying things to them.
Yeah.
They're being abandoned.
Yep.
And they don't even know how to be strengthened. So I hope that you get the opportunity to also go out and present to people.
Thank you. I hope so too.
Yeah.
I hope so too.
Definitely something that I think you need to pursue because you could be the strength for them, which will bring up others. We're all supposed to each one teach one and support one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Iron sharpens iron.
Yay. You see, you have to come with the Caribbean terms, Yes. So Alexis, thank you once again for joining me.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you. Yes,
and
ma'am.
to many, many more opportunities for us to sit down
you
and
so
speak
much.
because I know she's going places. All right.
Thank you so much.
So for everybody else that tuned in, thank you for tuning into the Reset with Nat podcast. This is a very special episode. I'd like you to please share how they can contact you, whether it is just someone that wants to follow you on Instagram or your socials, or they would like to do business with you because that's what's happening. Go ahead.
I'm telling you. Okay, well, my Instagram is thebeauty.forashes. And my website is www.thankfully.com, but it's ThankfulLee. Get it? Alexis Lee, thankfully.com. You can purchase my memoir, Beauty for Ashes, Memoir of a Traumatic Brain Injury Survivor on all major platforms. There's also audio version as well.
Oh,
yes.
Did you
honey.
do the recording for the audio?
I did not.
Okay, that's okay. You'll do that next time. Okay, go ahead.
I got a narrator to do it for me. Lovely lady.
Okay.
So there's also that option because I know that reading can be difficult for brain injury survivors. So I wanted folks to have choices. So you have the paperback, you have the e-read, and the audio version as well.
Perfect. All right.
Yes. And on my website, you can find my email to reach out to me as well.
And I will have everything in this show notes, so don't worry about it. All right?
Thank you, folks.
All right. Many blessings.
Bless you.
And with everything you do, have faith.
Yes.
Stay focused
Yes.
and always follow through.
Awesome.
Take care.